Hello, good morning, and a very warm welcome. For our next face to face, I have with me our guest Isha Khan Choudhury, who is a member of parliament from Malda South in West Bengal. He comes from a very prominent political family, and both his father, Abu Hasim Khan Choudhury, and uncle Ghani Khan Choudhury have served as cabinet ministers at the center. Welcome, sir, to our next episode of Expert Insights. Pleasure to have you in our show.
It's my pleasure also. Thank you.
Uh, So
Thank
to
you, Mr. Naushad.
begin with, first of all, I would like to know what's your take on SII in Bengal, and how would you like to assess its impact on overall polity in the West Bengal, and also how it is likely to impact assembly elections in West Bengal?
See, SIR, there's a lot of controversy in the country. Having said that, SIR is a process that is done every 20 years, every certain amount of time to, I guess, double check the roles of the country, electoral roles. So, in that way, it should be a stable legal process. The problem I think that the Congress has or that we have with it is that it should be done in a very fair way, and it should be done in a way that doesn't create any panic, doesn't create any unnecessary pressure. Uh, so what I find surprising is that I don't understand why the Election Commission insists in this such a small time gap, whether it be Bengal or Bihar or other states. I don't understand this idea of 2 or 3 months because you're talking about states or a country with huge population, huge voter population, and there should be enough time so that there's no sense of panic also. Election Commission or any other body in India, a neutral body, it's not just about the actual fairness, it's also about being seen to be fair. So, giving such a compressed time, naturally it creates questions. The opposition parties will raise questions. Why are you doing it in such a rush way? If, for example, if SIR had been announced, 6 months before the election or even earlier,
Yeah.
throughout the country, why do it in this rushed way when it's a country with a developing country where a lot of people, like in Bengal, I'll give you Bengal specific example, and Bihar, people work outside the state. So for them to register themselves is not that easy. They might be working in Rajasthan, Bengali worker, a person from Malda labor. He might be working in one of the 10, 15 states where they go. And for him or her to come back in time in such a short, compressed time might be very difficult.
Yeah.
So these type of things the election commission should keep in mind, and it creates a impression that there's some pressure maybe from the central government. This is why our leader Rahul Gandhi ji has raised this issue, vote chori in many states and another question for people, because like I said, an election commission or any neutral body should be seen to be neutral also. So why not start the process in BJP ruled states?
Yeah.
I mean, so that would create a better image for this process that it's being done fairly. Because Rahul Gandhi ji has found some discrepancies in voter rolls in some where one voter ID, 20 people are voting, or 100 people can vote, or 500 people can potentially vote. So these voter the ruling party should show leadership, and the election commission should show. It's not also about should show neutrality. It should show that it's being done in a very organized, planned way, not some rushed way, which I think is being done throughout the country.
Yeah. Is there any a kind of sense of panic in West Bengal? Because we can see in many parts of the country, a large number of PLOs have committed suicide or died under extreme pressure, and even some people in Bengal have also attempted suicide and have also died. So, is there a sense of panic on the ground in West Bengal, and what is the situation there in your constituency?
Yes, in the beginning, there was a sense of panic. And as you have pointed out, people have died in West Bengal, some BLOs. One BLO has committed suicide, I believe. So again, this goes back to my point that the Election Commission should provide a suitable amount of time.
Yeah,
Again, we're saying that SR itself as a process may be necessary from time to time in a big country like ours to make sure that the voter rolls are up to date, voter lists are up to date.
yeah,
That is not a question. The question is how is it being executed? How is it being rolled out?
yeah,
And here there are many questions that why would BLOs be committing suicide then? Then they feel under pressure, obviously, that maybe they cannot get the job done in such a small time. And most of these BLOs are teachers, so they have other jobs to do. There are examinations coming up in our state, at least. So they have dual responsibilities. So again, this comes to a matter of why this rush? Why not allow 6 months? Why not even allow a year for this process to be done? That doesn't make sense to me. Why would you force such a thing in such a small amount of time? These are questions everyone has for the Election Commission. But in Bengal, yes, there was in the beginning a sense of panic. And unfortunately, in Bengal, also the political parties, BJP ruling parties, both of them, BJP and TMC, I think add to the panic instead of calming people down. I'll give you an example. I was just reading, because I'd forgotten the date. Suvendu Adhikari, the leader in the assembly, uh, I knew he had uttered many statements, divisive statements on the grounds of religion. So I just had forgotten the date of his speech. The date is in August. He'd given many interviews
yeah,
saying that in Bengal we'll remove many Rohingyas, there are millions of Rohingyas and dead voters, and there are millions of Muslims, illegal Muslims. So these type of things, again, that will create, it's first of all, it's nonsense talk. Factually, I do not believe there are not millions of Rohingyas in Bengal.
yeah,
So why these are parties that are trying to create a fear factor amongst voters or create a divide or create divide amongst voters, which is very unfortunate. We saw this in NRC also in 2021 in the Vidhan Sabha election of Bengal,
yeah,
where the BJP started talking about NRC, that we may bring NRC to Bengal, it may be necessary. And this was just a scare tactic to polarize the voters along lines of religion. And unfortunately, at that time, the TMC party, the ruling state government, also, instead of calming people down and saying, no, NRC will not happen, they said, no, BJP comes to power, it will happen, so you must vote for us. So it became a tool of the two ruling parties, this fear factor to take votes from scared voters, to bring votes in by fear, not by. Usually, you would vote for a party based on their performance, on their development, on the funds they bring to constituencies. Instead, we saw both ruling parties in Bengal fighting election on fear. So that was with the 2021 Vidhan Sabha election. And again, we're seeing to some extent with this vote coming up in Bengal in March, April. Again, we're seeing that regarding SAR, there's an attempt to some extent by both parties to create fear. So, like I said, Suvendu Adhikari talking what I can only say is nonsense. I'm sorry to say that to a leader, but there are not millions of Rohingyas, staying in Bengal, and there are not millions of Muslims who have immigrated from Bangladesh. These are all fear tactics, and it's trying to create a divide based on the Muslim Hindu divide, which is very unfortunate and it's very unnecessary. And so it's sort of again going back to SR it it brings down this process as SR is supposed to be a neutral process. Okay, we accept it as that. If it was a neutral process, if it is not, it should not be politicized. So here you are seeing the BJP in August was politicizing it a lot. BJP now they've toned it down. If you see now they're talking more responsibly. But I was very disappointed. Why would they even bring these type of religious issues into? You should just say they should have said SR is a process. It's meant to and there are some, voters who by this time are not will not be kept on the list. Voters who have died, for example, that we accept that must be done. They must be weeded out. Names of dead voters, maybe a few people who have come from Bangladesh or some other place. Those everybody accepts. I think there's no dispute amongst that type of weeding out those type of wrong votes, incorrect votes. So, having said that, we should not bring in religion. And TMC also this time is again trying to, I feel politicize issues, scare people that, if you we will fight, we will not allow SIR to happen. That's another extreme. So I think both parties are going to extremes. We will, uh, I think the chief minister had said a few months ago that if I will not allow SR in Bengal. But SR has already started in Bengal. So what is the use of scaring people? Rather, you show them the processes they have to follow, the papers they need to get ready, and you try to calmly help them to understand the process and then so that it can be done in a peaceful way. So
Uh,
bringing fear, I feel, is intentionally done by both parties to some extent, both by the TMC, even if there are some legitimate objections of the TMC. I think the way they're doing it is again to bring that fear factor into people that so that the vote becomes polarized. So both these parties have an eye on the vote rather than on the process of SIR, which is very unfortunate. So again, this process should have started a year ago or should have been done a year before the election. Then this no party would have been able to try to capitalize on vote gains for this SIR, which I feel is what both parties in Bengal are doing. And it was creating a little bit of panic, but I think to some extent, the public in Malda, to a large extent, like our party, Congress Party, me personally, we've kept on telling people nothing to fear. We're there beside you. No legitimate citizen of India will be excluded from the process. So we were repeating this message on social media. We've placed our BLAs in most of the booths in Malda district, BLA, the booth agents, to help people. So we feel that to a large extent that this uh, that was there in the beginning. This tension has come down, but still people are a little nervous. Obviously, they want to be able to vote. So they want to be sure they are a little nervous, the people who have not been able to find their names on the voter list. So we're trying to explain there's a process. So I think the parties have not been responsible, and the election commissioner should have been more responsible and not putting this right before an election because it can be misused by parties on the ground to for electoral purposes, for gaining votes. Again, this shows that the election commission should have, taken a different route, I believe. SIR itself might not be a bad process, but how you execute it, how you do it, is very important.
As you have seen that very recently election was held in Bihar, and very soon election is also likely to be held in West Bengal. So keeping in mind the recent performance of the Congress in Bihar Assembly election, which has called for serious introspection, in your view, what are the lessons which you think Bengal Congress should learn from the performance of its party in West Bengal?
Well, first I like to say each state is different. Each state is in its own, has its own culture. Yes, Bengal has a lot of Bihari people live in Bengal and vice versa. A lot of our voters live alongst the border areas of districts of Bihar, like Kishanganj, for example. A lot of Bengali speaking people are there. But
Yes.
having said that, each state has, individual culture. The Congress is in a different situation, different alliance partners, etc. So you cannot, and I think we make that mistake sometimes. We look at one other state and we say, okay, that is going to govern our state. So I, not in particular, I was in Bihar for some time, for 4 or 5 days. But I'm not expert in Bihar, so I don't want to comment too much. Regarding Bengal, you see, we have been given instruction from the High Command, and this is something that we all wanted to do, is to rebuild our uh, organization in Bengal and in Malda and everywhere in Bengal. That is something that, see, we have not been in power for 50 years almost. We've not been a ruling party in the state. We've not had a state government. So you can understand that, the power has been with other parties. Uh, in particular, police and administration have been used against us. by the present ruling government in Bengal at times. Even though we are in a sort of understanding with them at the Lok Sabha level, at the national level, at the state level, there is lots of unease between TMC and ourselves. And at times the administration and police are used against our workers. So I think the message from our high command, right at the highest level, has been to try and rebuild Congress. I think we'll do better than before. Than 2021. We didn't get a single MLA. Unfortunately, I'm the only MP of West Bengal right now. But I think we'll somewhat will have a recovery from that, and we're hoping to be a factor in the election. That if there's a government, maybe there'll be a hung parliament or something like that. In that situation, maybe we would be a factor. We're hoping that. But well, our main, even in Malda, where I've had, our Congress has had recent some success in the Lok Sabha, our still main mantra is now to rebuild the party, strengthen the organization, right from ground zero. We're thinking of rebuilding from ground zero. If that's anything we've learned from Bihar, maybe that. And it's something we already had to do. Even in Bihar, had we been victorious or been done in a much, at a better result, that is still the thing we must learn. What we are trying to do in Bengal on our own, that is our own situation, that we must rebuild from nil, from scratch, and we're working hard at that. Our PCC president is working hard. We're trying to rebuild the party throughout Bengal. So that let's see how many gains. I don't want to say much upon that right now because election is just few months away. So we are hopeful that we will definitely rebound. The Congress will rebound in West Bengal. We're very confident in that. And we're hopeful it will be a factor also.
So, do you believe that a Congress should look for a new allies or alliances in West Bengal or change its political strategy, keeping in mind the fast changing political dynamics and narrative locally and nationally?
You know what our high command has told us is that stand on your own feet first before you go into your alliance. And I believe I strongly that was my first opinion before the high command told us this.
Yes.
That stand on your own feet, strengthen your organization. I think if we are not a force to be reckoned with in ourselves, then how can we even think about an alliance? First, strengthen yourself at the grassroots, at the booth level, at the Anchal level, at the block level, and then, once you have a strength, you can negotiate with others. But if you're not strong enough, right now we have no seats in Bengal. What negotiating power do we have? I mean, Vidhan Sabha seats, MLA seats. So it's very hard to negotiate. So I really believe that I know it's tough. It might be a longer journey than this election. We must keep the long term in mind, and I think this is our lesson for. If you ask me personally, this is up to our high command to decide. But a lesson from Bihar and also for Bengal for us is that we have to have the long term in mind, and we have to rebuild our party. We are a party that is present throughout the country, the only national party. All other parties are all state based. They're regional based. They're in one. Basically, all parties I see are in basically one state nowadays, single state parties. So Congress is the only party which has a national presence, which could tackle a party like the BJP. So that is not in question that who can fight with the BJP. There's no one except Congress. But Congress must, introspect on its loss in a place like Bihar and rebuild where we have become weak, where we have not been in power for a long time. We should rebuild our grassroots. And I think that might be a medium term to long term process. It might not be something that will see fruits immediately. It might take a little longer than one election. But I believe that if anyone can do it, it's Congress. Congress party has the ideology to unify the country and provide development for the country. And if anyone can do it, Congress needs to do that and introspect and rebuild itself.
If you can answer very briefly, what you have to say to your people in constituency, keeping in mind the ongoing SIR process and also for the people of West Bengal.
Regarding my constituency and Bengal, I have promised many times personally to the public in Malda that we as a party will, Congress party, INC and Malda Jala Congress will ensure that nobody is left behind, that no citizen of India is left behind. There are certain concerns we had, which I raised with the Election Commission and with the DM, District Magistrate Administration of Malda. There were certain concerns, certain categories of people who I think are a bit more vulnerable. So those categories are given to which I think will be discussed once the draft roll is out on 9th of December, probably. That's when the objections and claims portion starts. But I've already red flagged these issues to the uh, election commissioner and to the administration of Malda. One is where in Malda and in West Bengal, where you have had natural disasters. In Malda, Murshidabad is prone a lot to erosion, huge erosion. So much erosion that we've actually had one uh, Gram Panchayat, one Anchal in Malda that was washed away in 2002, completely washed away, underwater, the entire GP. So all the schools, all the houses were washed away. As a result, nobody has now. All these people have moved to other villages. Nobody from that village has any type of documents. Maybe they have the other card, but all their older documents, high school documents, their names are not in the voter list. So that's not a fault of their own. That's a natural disaster. That's erosion problem. So that is one special category I've asked for natural disasters, especially erosion-prone disasters in Malda Murshidabad, because we have every 2, 3 years we have huge erosion. So papers may go missing, documents go missing. Government buildings have been submerged. So where will you get the papers? So this I red flagged one issue. Second issue is clerical errors. There have been examples in Malda where people found their name earlier in the 2002 list, but in this 2002 list, they're not finding it. So a very strange type of thing. So there's one in Manikchak, one area like that, where we have about 1,000 voters are not fine. They voted in 2002. Their names were there in 2002. Now, when this roll was printed in 2002, they're not finding their names. It could be a clerical error. So these type of situations, the administration has to support so that these people are not in any way disturbed or excluded from the voting process because these people have been in India for many generations. These are all Indian citizens. Another category in Malda, which is very important, is the Motwa community. There have been some people who have come from Bangladesh uh, after 2020, after 2002, and even after that. And those people, some of them yet have not gained Indian citizenship, but as per CA, they are eligible to gain a Hindu community from Bangladesh, basically. They're eligible to get citizenship. Regarding the Mutwa community, again, as I was saying, West Bengal, in Malda, we have many people of that community, in North Malda especially. And as I was saying, the issue is that throughout Bengal, BJP is politicizing this issue, is going to the Mutua community throughout Bengal and saying that don't worry, those who do not have the vote yet do not have citizenship yet. Even. Some have not. Uh, I believe the central government has extended the CA deadline so that more people can apply. But I think it's giving people a false sense of security that they will be able to vote. And so what is happening? They are issuing religious identity cards, which apparently can be used as a document for applying for CA. And this is what BJP and its organization is doing across Bengal. But as far as I know, this is what I would like to know, and this is why I've written to the election commissioner and to the administration that, as far as I know, to my limited knowledge, citizenship is a process, takes time. Now, once these Motua community or Motua people in Malda or West Bengal have been given citizenship, and then they will be able to apply to become voters. So the question is that I think a false propaganda is being spread that the Mutwas will be able to, the ones who are not nationalized yet, will be able to vote in this election. And I think that may be false. So that's why I've asked for a clarification, outright clarification, that please, yes or no, will these people that right now camps are being opened so that they can apply for citizenship, will they be able to vote in this election or not? That is not what there's no clear answer. Malda administration openly has been able to unanswer this question and said we have received no clear instruction from the central government on these issues. So you see, again, this goes back to my point of politicizing the vote. This is where the election commission, in my opinion, I'm my humble way, I'm not trying to doubt them, but I'm trying to think that they could have done this process in a much better way, so that it is not politicized. So anyway, from Malda, that problem remains that can the Motua community in Malda district, will they be the people who have come, I believe, after uh, 2002, will they be all of them be able to vote or not? Yes or no? That question I want answered. And I hope it's yes, because that is the impression that the central government has been giving to all the people in Bengal that you'll be able to vote. So that promise should be fulfilled. It should not be an empty political promise that is done in fear. So, and the fourth category of people are migrant workers. This I saw in Bihar. When I asked on the grassroots, I was only 4 days in Kishanganj. When I asked in the grassroots, most people said yes. We feel that most people have been included in the voter rolls. I talked to villagers. I went to some villages. I went around. But they said the one category of people who may have not been fully represented or included in the rolls are migrant laborers from Bihar because they may have not had the time to, give their documents in time for the selection or arrange that their documents be given. And so that is the same situation in Malda. We have 5 lakh workers in Malda district who work outside the state. So whether in such a compressed short time, it's very easy to say go online and register yourself, but in actual fact, these people are very poor. They might not have access to a computer. They might be in Rajasthan, they might be in Haryana, they might be working Maharashtra. So for them to come back to Bengal just for a vote, to give papers, look for papers, it's not economically feasible. And they're not connected to the internet, quite frankly. They don't have, so it's very easy to say yes, but there are other options made for them. These options may not work. So these are the problems I stated. Natural disasters, especially in Malda district, Murshidabad district, we have erosion-prone flooding. Then we have clerical errors. Third, I was saying the Mutwa community, our Hindu community brothers who have come very late from Bangladesh. And uh, fourth is our migrant laborers. These special categories of people I've red flagged to the Election Commission and to the uh, state government that you should make sure that in no way these people are kept out of the voter list. These people might have some special problems. Other than that, if people are a little alert, and I think all the political parties are alert, our party, Congress Party, is trying to be very alert with everyone. I am hoping that most people should be on the rolls, except for these few categories I mentioned. And those people, we are willing to do what is ever necessary to make sure they are, because I think that is the responsibility of the governments and the Election Commission to make sure that no citizen is left behind for any reason. These reasons I have specified easily the governments can check or will have to make some leniency so that they are included in the list because these people who are being left out for no fault of their own, probably a fault of the government or some problem of mother nature or something, a flood or erosion, something like that. That is not a fault of a citizen of India. So that these special cases, the Election Commission must look into and solve. That's what I would say to that. Unfortunately, again in Bengal, my overall comment is that both TMC, BJP are trying to a little bit politicize the issue, a little bit bring in a fear factor. BJP, I told you, with the Motua community throughout Bengal, telling them you are guaranteeing you the vote, but I'm not sure. My understanding is very limited. I don't see how that will be done in time. I would like it to be done in time. In fact, it's my demand that it be done in time because I have Motua people, citizens Motua community people in Malda who I want them to be given the vote. So I hope it's not being politicized by the central government and the BJP in West Bengal. Also, the fear factor, Hindu, Muslim, or religious fear factor that both parties use that get rid of, this mythology that is put by the BJP that there's millions of Muslim refugees staying in Bengal, I think is exaggerated to some extent, and that is also being politicized. And on the other side, the TMC trying to show that it is the savior of all minorities in Bengal and savior of all voters in Bengal, and trying to build up the fear factor and then calm people down and explain that these are the procedures, this is the process. Now that the process has been declared, it's not possible to stop it. So this is how you make. We have to rather ensure that everybody's included. Now, my only comment to the Election Commission, respectfully, humbly, as a body, an independent constitutional body, is that giving it in such a compressed time, first of all, created artificial pressures, like you said, with the BLOs, government agents being put into a very bad position, some committing suicide, putting the whole system under unnecessary pressure. And secondly, because elections are coming, both Bihar and now in Bengal, you have allowed, by making it so close to elections, there is a potential in Bengal. It's not a potential. BJP and the ruling TMC party are politicizing the SIR, which should have been a process, calm, rational process, has become politicized. So again, the election commission should not, in my humble opinion, so this is my advice if I have to them, is not rush it through just before an election. Rather, they should have given 1 year before. So this would have not been politicized. People, it's like demonetization in our country, the same criticism that people have, that it was rushed. If you do it over a longer period, it can easily be absorbed. There'll be less shocks, less hurt on people. The same thing. Why unnecessary fear factors being created by these political parties? Because the commission has made this period just before an election, and that also in such a small time. What was the harm of announcing it 1 year earlier or 8 months earlier, giving a nice amount of time so that all the complexities could have been figured out? Any people who are outside of the normal uh, norms or rules, like I told you, people whose houses have been destroyed by erosion, by Ganges erosion, river erosion, all their papers are missing. That's not their fault. Why? This would be election commission. Had they allowed a longer time, then these issues would have been dealt with in timely basis, and also there would be no politicizing of this process, which is very unfortunate, Bengal. And we are trying to also alert the people that don't get into fear about this. Stay calm, make your vote based on the performance of parties, based on their development. Because Bengal is a highly developed, underdeveloped state. And we feel like in Malda, I'll stick to Malda right now. Malda has huge erosion problems, Malda, Murshidabad, because of the rivers, Ganges especially. We are very unsatisfied. The public is very unsatisfied with the work done by the central government. No large funds are coming in anymore. During the UPA time, we had from the Farakka Barrage, which is between Malda and Murshidabad. It's a central government dam, you could say, small dam, which so from there, the central government had into Murshidabad 80 kilometers central responsibilities and 40 to 50 kilometers into Malda. It was all central responsibility. That responsibility after 2014, once the BJP government came in, the BJP government got rid of that rule and no longer takes responsibility for most of Malda and Murshidabad. So we have huge problems every year. The state government says we do not have enough funds. People are not happy with their work. They are not being able to do a large amount of work. So these type of things are neither being done by the center or the state. The job situation in Malda is very bad. Educated people, youngsters, boys and girls, after graduating from college, it is very hard for them to find jobs. Neither the state nor the center has been able to, as promised by both governments, to do anything about that. So I feel why I'm mentioning these things, because we're discussing SAR, not the election per se. But what I'm saying, because the SAR and the election are happening simultaneously, that SIR is being used as a way to create fear by the ruling party so that people forget these issues, forget developmental issues, and they don't bring that into their mind during the election, which is what they should, which is what Congress is what we're saying. You vote on parties based on their performance, based on the work they're able to do for you, based on their development work they've been able to bring into the state. Well, vote for that. Don't get into fear. SAR. We're confident people. Well, most people in Bengal, if not everyone, will be included, and we'll fight to ensure that even if there's 1% remaining who have not been included SAR, the Malda Jila Congress and also in our Bengal Congress will fight to ensure that everybody is included. That is what we are telling people, and that is what we believe. We'll fight for any person who's wrongfully excluded from the voter list. Having said that, again, I feel that the process could have been done in a much better way with proper time and proper thoughtfulness. It could have been executed in a much better way. Not this would not have allowed this any panic situation you're asking about, which was there much more in the beginning. Now it's calming down, but it would not have existed then had this been done earlier, declared earlier. The process started earlier.
Okay, sir. Thanks for sharing your perspective. We'll be back next time with another expert. Thanks for watching. Keep your environment clean. Goodbye.
Thank you so much, Mr.